English was introduced into the Philippines during the U.S. colonial occupation and civil regime in the early 1900s and has now become the second official language. In fact, Tagalog and English compete in the various domains of Filipino society, such as business, government, broadcast media, publications, and education. English, which has emerged in the Philippines, is distinctive, fascinating, and remarkable in many ways. Most recent data suggest that approximately 80% of Filipinos can understand and even speak English, making the Philippines one of the largest English-using society in the world. And with a population of over 100 million people, it even surpasses the United Kingdom and many other inner circle countries in terms of number of users of English. Next is history. Unlike most post-colonial nations, the Philippines did not inherit English from the British, but from the Americans. When the Philippines-American War ended in 1902, the islands officially became an unincorporated territory of the United States. The new colonial administrations quickly introduced English as the primary language of government, business, and education. It established a new public school system and sent American English language teachers all over the country. These American teachers were called Thomasites. So effective were American efforts to make English the second language of the Philippines that within a few years, Filipino school children were learning it from Filipino teachers. Within a few decades, English had been woven into the fabric of Philippines society.
Characteristic of Philippine English. There are many of English words that are used in Philippine language that take a completely different meaning. Some characteristics include unique vocabulary. For example, in the word Adidas, usually people think it's a brand name, but in the Philippines, it actually termed for chicken feet. Another example of unique vocabulary, such as Jejemon, for a certain type of communication style, and adaptations of expressions like comfort room for restroom. Pronunciations may also differ slightly, reflecting the influence of Filipino language. In Philippine English, you might notice the code switching, where speakers seamlessly switch between English and Filipino or other local language. This reflects the bilingual and multilingual nature of Philippines. Grammar and sentence structure in Philippines can be influenced by native language. For example, the use of reduplications, repeating a word of a part of a word for emphasize, is a feature borrowed from Filipino language. In formal context, Philippine English adheres the standard English vocabulary and grammar, while in everyday conversations, it may diverge with local influences. Keep in mind that this characteristic can vary across regions and social groups within the Philippines.
Next is vocabulary of Filipino English. The first is chancing, the concept of making a move. In the sexual context is called panancing or chancing. It means to take the chance to cup a feel, and the other sexual utterances over someone who is most likely not wanting the utterances. The second is at all you can. It is the variation of the all you can eat, which offers unlimited food and drinks at the fixed time or price. With the Filipinos, a man's love for food, it does not come as a shock to see long lines in restaurants or dinners with this kind of service. Third is selfish. Despite having the original meaning as an act of serving or protecting someone or something from destruction, the word selfish gets a whole new meaning when it was tied along the same lines like the of murder, and it is most often heard from the media regarding murder cases. Next is live-in. Due to the Filipinos' conservative nature toward marriage, live-in or the state of an unmarried couple living together is frowned upon. Next is bed space. Not limited to the space in a bed, the term began to mean an entire room in general that people can rent for use, and are eventually called bed spacers. Next is double deck. A double deck is the popular term from the bunk bed, which is also known as the double bed.
Here are some key aspects of Filipino English grammar. First one is subject-verb agreement. Subject-verb agreement ensure that the subject and the verb in a sentence agree in number. For example, in correct sentence, the team are playing well, and the correct sentence is the team is playing well. The second one is verb tenses. Use the verb sentences use the appropriate verb tense to convey the timing of an action. For example, present, she works in Manila. Past sentence, he visited Cebu last year. Future tense, we will meet tomorrow. The third one is articles. Use articles such as a, an, and the appropriately. For example, in correct sentence, she is a doctor in the hospital, and the correct sentence is she is a doctor at the hospital. Fourth one is prepositions. Pay attention to preposition to ensure correct word usage. For example, in correct sentence, she is good in singing. Correct sentence, she is good at singing. And the last one is conjunctions. Use conjunctions to connect ideas and create smooth transitions. For example, I like both tea and coffee. And that's it, the grammar from Philippine English.
The accent of Philippines English. In the Philippines, English has been shaped by a lot of American English due to the long-standing connection between the two countries. Filipinos often use American pronunciation, vocabulary, and spelling conventions. However, there can be a variation in accent and pronunciation across different regions and communities in the Philippines. So you might notice a touch of American influence in how Filipinos pronounce words and use certain terms. For example, they might say schedule instead of schedule for schedule, and pop truck over to lorry as in British English. But across the islands, there are diverse accents and variation. Some Filipinos may even pronounce VSB, turning very into berry. It's a colorful mix reflecting the country's linguistic diversity, yet English coexists with Tagalog as the official language.
Here are some examples of these distinctive pronunciations. So the first one, we have vowels. Vowels in Philippine English are generally pronounced according to the letter representing each, so that A, E, I, O, U are generally pronounced as A, E, I, O, U. The only exception to this rule is the word Marlboro, which is frequently read as Marlboro. Therefore, our phonemes are pronounced in all positions. Second one, fricative consonants. Philippine English lacks fricative consonant including F, V, T, D, Z, and often J. Many Filipinos often have distinct non-native English pronunciation, and many fall under different lectal variations. For example, mesolectal, mesolectal, and acrolectal. Third one, we have influence of native languages. The phonological features of English in Philippines are heavily dependent on the speaker's mother tongue, leading to mis or distinct pronunciations, particularly among mesolectal and to some extent mesolectal speakers. And the last one, spelling pronunciations. Due to the influence of reading and writing, local speech in the Philippines tends to be based on written models. Filipinos generally speak the way they write, in a formal style based on featuring prose models. Because of this, spelling pronunciation are common. Therefore, these differences in pronunciation reflect the influence of the native languages and culture of its speakers on the development of Philippine English.
Taglish po is a combination of English and Tagalog.
Have you heard of the FIFA World Cup?
Yes, I watched FIFA World Cup from the group stages to the final.
In a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult it is?
5. Yes, 5 is for the English and 5 for the Tagalog.
With my cousin, since he was born in the America, I was speaking in Taglish also that I thought he would understand, but no.